Today I'm going to continue on the topic of unforgiveness and how powerful forgiveness is. I feel like this is such a big and major problem in people's lives that we don't talk about it enough, and we need to get out of it and see the root cause of negative things that are happening in our lives. And unforgiveness doesn't always look like anger and yelling. The other day, I ran into a woman that I have known for a while. She is married, has been married for a long time, has kids, and she just out of the blue started sharing that they had to buy this small house and the property where she doesn't like because her husband doesn't make enough money. Or, well, he's constantly working and he doesn't make that much money, but he's always at work and he doesn't have time to spend time with children. He is really a good father, but he's really not paying too much attention. He's not doing this, he's not doing that. He is not giving me what I deserve. And he used to be much more involved at church and he's not anymore. He used to read the Bible and now he just kind of feels cold. And she just went on and on and on about all the things that her husband is not doing, all the expectations he hasn't met, all the broken dreams that he destroyed unintentionally in her life, and how she keeps trying to have a relationship and she's being this good wife and he's just not cooperating with her, and he won't listen, and she won't they can't have a real normal conversation because he's just cold towards her, and they keep living together, but all of this comes out of her. And the reality is this is a problem of both people. He is not the only bad guy in this situation. This is a typical thing that I hear of, marriages. People just kind of start blaming the other person and what they're not doing wrong. And they keep blaming each other and they keep circling back, and without trying to resolve the issue, trying to go to the root of the problem and trying to kind of pave through this and go on with something else, fill their hearts and marriage with something else. She just has so much unforgiveness, offense, grudge, and she's not really this mad, wife about it. She's just kind of sarcastically nasty when she talks about him, and they don't want to get a divorce because that's wrong, and that's not even a thought in their heads because that's not what they want to do. They have children, they have a marriage, but they keep having this unhealthy relationship without trying to go back and get rid of the roots that caused this problem and work together. She would say that she's trying to work on things, but he's not cooperating, And I hear this all the time. I'm trying to do my best and I've done my best, but she's not really cooperating. He's not really reciprocating, People say this all the time, but the real issue is if there's a problem in marriage, both need to work on it because both are blaming each other. It can't be you're this 100% perfect person and he's this 100% bad guy, or vice versa, So some of the symptoms of unforgiveness towards your husband is not being able to have an honest and open communication with him. When you have tried to share your feelings and he reacts with his response and you have a fight about it, you close up. This is what I used to do when I would share my feelings from a position of kind of blaming him for the things I'm sharing about, He would come at me with his reaction, and it doesn't really resolve anything. We just keep blaming each other for the things, and this would store up in me as something that, well, I can't really share about these things because we can't really talk about it. He doesn't want to talk about things. He doesn't want to talk about feelings. When in reality is, you have to be able to come to him in this humble, not blaming state at the right moment with the right approach and say, hey, So we keep running into this and that and that, and I know I've done this, and you have done this. Let's try to work on this and resolve it and respond and to each other, to the needs. So the second thing is reoccurring negative thoughts and feelings that you keep having towards your spouse. Whenever he does something, you have negative reaction, you have negative thoughts. Instead of receiving flowers from him, your reaction on the inside or your thoughts would be, well, finally, it's about time. You haven't gotten me flowers for so many years, you know? If that's your reaction, that's a negative reaction. That's a reaction of somebody who can't receive something nice that's being done to them. Or, you know, on the same level example, if he's bringing you flowers or bought you a chocolate bar, your thoughts are, well, of course he did something wrong. Of course he messed up. Of course he's trying to get something, you know? And if that's your reaction, you have some unforgiveness that causes that. A third symptom or thing that could go on in your life is when you're constantly having hurtful feelings that make you sad about something that he said or he did, or something that's going on in your life, you are constantly just hurt and upset about. And sometimes it comes out in this crying, sad manner. It could come out just snapping in an angry way. But you have this pain inside of you that was caused in certain reactions that you can't get past. That's unforgiveness. Fourth symptom is we are tense. We can't have a normal life. Every single thing that we do, we can't just be enjoying and open towards each other. We can't just come up and hug. We can't be ourselves because there's always this block because, well, he's not doing this, why should I do this? You know, there's always this tense thing that you're expecting the other person to do something for you instead of just being open and being yourself and getting past through it and reacting and acting with kindness and love. Fifth thing is if we feel like we are the victim. We always victimize ourselves and blame the other person for whatever they did, for the pain that they've caused, and we feel like we're the victim. In instances, we could be the victim. Yes, if we were abused, if something, painful happened, we are the victim. But we have to get out of that victim mindset because we can't move past it. It's a thing that lives inside of us that gives us this mindset that we treat ourselves with, that we treat everybody else with, that I'm the victim, I don't deserve this. I can't accept this. I can't behave this way. I can't think this way. It's just a whole world that we live from. The seventh thing is if we are sarcastic in a nasty way. If we can't accept something without snapping with the smirky reaction to something that our husband says to us, that means we have some unforgiveness inside of us. We can't treat him with kindness and love. We have to snap with something, that we may think is funny, but in reality, when it's not, and it's just pain coming out in this way. And the last thing I'll mention is when we have unforgiveness, it comes with pride. If we're being prideful, if we're being arrogant, and just kind of this closed up, numb person towards our husband, God cannot work with us. Our spouse, our husband cannot work with us. If we're being prideful, we can't see that we're being prideful. We have to ask the Holy Spirit to reveal to us. If we are being prideful, we are blocking certain things in our lives certain blessings. God says that he opposes the proud. He can't speak to you when you're being prideful, because that's not part of God's kingdom. That's not part of godly life. Prideful is the enemy. The enemy is where pride comes from. So that comes from the enemy. So if you're being prideful and you're just being arrogant and you refuse to make up, refuse to talk to your spouse normally, to your husband, then you need to kind of dig into what causes that and what causes that unforgiveness. So that's part of unforgiveness. You may never get an I'm sorry, an apology. You may never get your husband or your wife to come to you and say, hey, let's talk about this. I really want to make this right, and let's move past this, and let's do things differently. If you see the problem and you want a happy marriage, you want a happy life, you want to move past feeling all of these tormented emotions inside of you, you be the one that steps up. You be the one that comes to God and says, I want to get out of this. I want to see a way out. I want to see a way through this. I want to work on this. I want to be able to come to my husband and talk to him about this and move past it. I want to be able to understand each other. I want to understand him, and I want him to be able to listen to me and understand what I'm going through, what I'm feeling, what my emotions are, and why I do, certain things, and the things that he does cause me to do certain actions. And I want us to be able to understand each other. So we come to God first and ask him to walk us through this path, to guide us, to help us heal, to help us see ourselves and see what we're doing wrong, what we can do, and start from ourselves. What can I do to make this right? What can I do to make a difference and get out of this state that I'm in? And then start helping the other person, and then start working with the other person. Be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.